So, building a content calendar. So, does anybody here use a content calendar already, or are you kind of looking for one? Are you struggling to keep up with one? Let me know what like your current status is in the chat. Having a functional content calendar will really help you stay consistent. You can plan everything out instead of constantly wondering, what am I going to post today? You can implement your social strategy because you can see everything. It really helps with batch creating content. So I like to do a month of content in advance instead of like constantly wondering what to post. Some people do 1 week or 2 weeks. I like to do a month in advance. Planning things out in a calendar helps you make sure you're hitting each stage of the funnel. You can kind of visually see everything out or see everything. You can see everything on a calendar. So it helps you plan promotions and holidays and things like that. And most importantly, you'll feel less burnout because you don't have to wonder what to do all the time. So here I have a free template if you're interested. If you go to this page here and scroll down to free social calendar Airtable template, you can download this for free. And we'll be walking through this whole template right now. So if you don't know about Airtable, it's like my favorite thing ever, I think. And if I ever do a career change, it would be an Airtable influencer because I think it's the best thing ever. It's very simple and user-friendly and easy to use, but it's also like if you really want to dive into creating systems and automations and like getting crazy, like Airtable can do all of that too. But for a calendar template and for just basic user like experience, it's very simple. So that's just what we're going to talk about today. So if you haven't used Airtable, here's a very quick tutorial. So up here, you'll see like different tabs and you can switch to different, like any content info that you have in there. You can add additional tabs up here. Even if you do use this template or any templates that Airtable has, they're all super customizable to whatever that you want to add or delete or change or anything like that. On the right here, there's a little search bar so you can find anything in the tab that you're in, which is super useful. On the left here, you'll see different views. So we'll kind of see what that looks like later, but there's, I like to use these 3 for the calendar part. And then there's so many additionals that you can add as well. On the top here, there's different filters, sorting, grouping, which is really helpful. And I'll show you some examples of that later too. When it comes to building out rows, some people describe this as like a glorified Excel sheet, which is pretty accurate, I guess, but you can click into any cells that you would like. You can expand things with the blue arrow. You can expand the whole row with the arrow here as well. And then there's also arrows at the top if you want to like navigate through each field that way too. But that's the gist of Airtable. Again, like Airtable itself could be a whole workshop on its own. There's so much to dive into here. But let's build out a basic calendar together. Before I do that, I'm going to share with you these columns that I have for my calendars. And again, these are all super editable to customize to however you want to make your calendars. You can right click and edit things or just delete them if they're not relevant to you. So on the left, I always start with content types, and I use this for my calendar view, and you'll see how that kind of pulls in a second too. Then you have your post date. I have an attachment section here for like if you're creating graphics, you can drop anything in here. I have a creative link. So if you're linking from like Dropbox or Google Drive, anything can be linked in there. Caption, status, so the status of your content, if you're working on it, posting it, scheduling it, anything like that. You can also just type directly into this and add a new thing. You can just hit add option and then easily add new statuses in there as well. I have a field for social platforms, so you can add multiple platforms to where the post is going to go. A field for tracking tags and keywords. So if you're really diving into like SEO, you can make note of certain keywords that you want to use here or certain tags or anything like that. A space for having an offer or a call to action, and a space for like post intent and content pillar, which I'll dive into in a second as well. And then just like a general notes section. Okay, so let's do a sample content calendar together on like June or something. So when I first create my calendars, I'm making a note of like anything that I want to promote that month, any big holidays, just kind of mapping out what the month will look like. And then I'll have like a note of that to the side. And then when I come into this calendar view here is where I kind of map out all of my content types. So for example, I'll fill out like all of the stories that I'm going to post that month. I'll map out all of the static posts that I'm going to post. And then I map out like video content. If you're doing Reels and TikTok separately, you can be more specific. I typically just kind of group them together. So having this kind of view is really helpful if you have like any launches or promotions. You can see how often you want to promote and make sure you're getting content out in time. So once I know what my month looks like, I switch to my grid view. And this is where like the sorting and the filtering comes in handy. So obviously you want to sort by your post date, have things go in order. And then I like to filter by the content type and use this to batch create my content. So from here, I kind of work backwards from the right side. I'll fill in any notes, or like I'll start with my post intents or my offers if there's like anything major coming up that month. So if I want to focus more on like building my community and like a little bit of sales content, I would start mapping out what that looks like. And this helps just make sure that you're visually, it just visually helps you make sure you're not talking too much about like sales, you're not doing too many trending content, you're kind of equally distributing your content types. And then same thing with your offers or your call to actions, seeing everything here visually helps make sure that you're talking about, I'm not talking about my workshops too much and I'm talking about things equally. So I like to have things categorized there. From this ideas section, which we'll dive into next, I like to kind of pull my ideas based off of the post intents and drop them into the notes and kind of finalize ideas there. And then I work backwards. So if there's any tags or keywords, so like if I'm doing something about a workshop, what keywords do I want to use in that post to promote my workshop and make sure I'm not missing anything there. Something like that. And then from there, since I know what my post is going to be about, I move into like my captions and my creative. I'll make some notes on what I want the graphics to be. If I'm working on videos, I'll just go ahead and write my whole scripts out. And then from there, since you have your whole month mapped out and you know everything that you're talking about, you can easily just run through and create all of your graphics. You can write all of your captions at one time. You can record all of your videos, and then you're done for the month in just one little, I mean, it takes a few hours, but you get it done in like one chunk of time rather than like every day. So that's how I work on my posts. And the basics of how I create a content calendar. Going to delete all of these. Also, if you're a person who cares about like the aesthetics of your Instagram feed. The gallery view will pull in all of your posts as well, and you can just like filter and see your posts, so you can kind of see like what your feed will look like overall as well. Before we get into the ideas tab, I'll talk about this brand notes section really quick. So on my calendars or on my Airtable, I like to have all my brand notes there and easily accessible. So that looks like having my style guide, so like exactly what my branding is gonna look like, what my tone of voice is, your social strategy, all of that. So you're always remembering what your content is supposed to be sounding like, looking like, all of that. And if you have anybody collaborating or working with you, you all have access to that and things can stay branded and cohesive. Then I have the ideas tab here, and this is something I kind of use as like a brain dump. So I have the Airtable app on my phone so that whenever I have an idea, I can just drop all of my thoughts into here. And then when I'm ready to create content, I'll come into my ideas tab and I'll see everything that I've been wanting to talk about. I can kind of sort through it, finalize ideas, and then you can just drop them into like if you want to make it as a post or a story or a video, etc. You can just easily sort through everything there too. Or if you did make it as a post and then you want to remind yourself to make it a video, you can just move things over as well. So I have this idea place to drop everything in, and the app is super helpful and you have everything all in one place, so that's really helpful. Then I have a spot for a copy swipe as well. So copy swipe is just any like words or phrases or anything that you hear as like inspiration for writing your captions or your copy. You can just have all of that in one place too as you're putting all of your ideas together. Okay, speaking of ideas, let's get into how to find social content ideas. Okay, so first is your competitors' reviews or comment section. So obviously you want to be up to date with like your competitor research. I like to do like a really basic version of this once a month when I'm creating content calendars, but like more in-depth quarterly if I'm doing like updating my marketing strategy. But in your competitors' reviews and comments, and in your own comment section, in your own reviews, you will see like it's a gold mine of information. People are telling you exactly what they want, and so this is a really good place to find that. So a good example of this is if you're reading your competitor reviews, and somebody is like disappointed that your competitor doesn't use sustainable shipping materials or something like that. That would be something, and maybe you do, so your brand does use sustainable shipping materials. That would be something that you want to create content around because you can see that your audience is obviously like cares about that and wants to learn more about that and wants to shop from brands that have sustainable materials. So that would be something you could talk about. Alternatively, if they love something that your competitor is doing and that you're also doing, you want to make sure to highlight that as well. You don't want to like directly call out your competitors and say you're doing something better, but just use what their audience is saying as inspiration. The next one is like conversations that you're having with your friends, your family, with your clients or your consumers. Questions that you're getting asked a lot. As business owners, you know, we're like experts basically in what we're promoting and what we're selling. So we're kind of like cursed with, you know, like the curse of knowledge. We know way too much and we're not on that like basic intro level of like what our audience wants to learn about. Like for example, somebody mentioned they were a lawyer. So content like that, I'm sure you're deep into laws and you're deep into knowing what the updated laws are or the changes in laws. but as a potential like client of yours, I don't really know anything about that. So kind of just reminding yourself like what the basic level of everything is. And so a good place to get that is from like conversations with your friends or your family, remembering what people ask you about your business. And that one kind of takes some time to like remind your brain to tune into all of these questions. I like to like take time at the end of the day to reflect on what people have asked me, make notes on all of that, and turn that into content as well. The next is blog content. So obviously if you're creating blogs, you're going to turn that into social content, but it doesn't need to be just like a one and done thing. You can always reference your old blog posts, or you can just pull information from blog posts, even without like promoting that blog. So just revisit the content that you've already created and just turn that into social content. The next is Google. So just Google what you post. I'm kidding, but an example of that, let me see what, so immigration law. Okay, let's use that as an example again. So if you are searching for ideas, you're gonna think of your keyword related to your business and do like a quick Google search and see all of the things that pop up under this. So these are things that people are asking. So what's a good one? Immigration law firm in Orange County. So if you're in Orange County, you would, I mean, that's a good thing to create content around your location. What's another one? Courses. That's kind of hard. If you have another keyword for your business, let me know and I'll use that as an example. But let's try marketing. Okay, so for example, I would pull from this list marketing ideas, tips, strategy. These are things that people are already searching. And so these are ideas that I can pull from for content. So I would make a note of these and then let's click into one. And with this, you'll see people also ask, and then there's going to be another section called people also search for. So these are also things that people are searching for and related to your keyword that you can use as ideas for content. So let's look at this list here. People are looking for like, what are the best steps of marketing strategy? Let's try small business marketing instead. Okay, so people also search for small business marketing strategy, which is something I would create content around. How to start marketing a new business, that would be a great topic for content. Low cost marketing ideas, that would be something I would write down as content ideas. And then once you get into this Google flow, I mean, you can go like forever and ever, just clicking through things and just kind of continuing on your search this way and pulling out ideas here as well. Next is SEMrush. So don't get overwhelmed with the look of this platform. This is a really useful tool for SEO, and there is like a lot happening here. But even just for like basic content ideas, you can create an account for free. You can do a certain amount of keyword research for free a day or something. So if you're getting content ideas, this is a really good place to come as well. So what you would do when you come in here, you're going to create a free account and then go to keyword research. Yeah, we'll type marketing into here as well, or we'll do small business marketing. So this is going to tell you again, like how often people are searching things. Oh, 10 free actions a day. Okay, that's cool. That's plenty also for social content. So this is everything that people are searching on Google or through search. this will tell you how often people are searching, which is really helpful. But the same concept as Google, you can kind of just click through keywords and just keep clicking through for a ton of ideas here. So some things that I would pull from is like, how much should a small business spend on marketing? That's a really good topic to talk about. How to do market research for a small business. That's something I would definitely talk about. Then you can also see like different really popular websites and what people are clicking through the most. So the Small Business Association is something that's popular and something that I've been wanting to create content on as well. You can see other links that are getting a lot of traffic, and then look at their content for inspiration as well. Go to this web page and then just kind of keep pulling ideas from that too. The next one is answerthepublic.com, which is also bought by the next example I'm going to show you. So they're almost the same now, but this is a really cool tool because it pulls what people are searching from all of the platforms. So Google, YouTube, oh, now they have TikTok, so that's really cool. Amazon, so if you're selling on Amazon, this is really helpful. But what's an example somebody else used? Real estate marketing. Okay, so what we would type in our keyword here, hit search, and then we'll see everything that people have been asking about real estate marketing. Which takes a second. But I like this platform because it breaks things into different categories, which is just kind of helpful. When it comes up, I promise you it's cool, but we'll come right back to this. I think my internet's a little slow today. Okay, we'll come back to this. But the other free platform that's really useful as well is Ubersuggest. Same thing, you can create an account for free and you get a limited amount of searches, but it's plenty for social content. So let's type in real estate marketing. The same thing, we're discovering new keywords. So this is probably going to be pretty similar to what you'll see on the others, but there's always different ideas. So this is kind of interesting. It's showing like top like cities. So real estate marketing for Houston, real estate marketing ideas. Real estate marketing tools. So that would be something useful to pull and talk about. Let's look up. Or somebody else said paid social. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so paid social 101. A lot of people want to know the basics, which is something that you could create content around. Best practices, that's actually a big one because like, one mistake on Facebook will ruin your life. Strategy examples, so just showing like examples of how you like run certain ads or like how you're going to target things or something like that. So again, just more like endless ideas in here as well. Let's see if this pulled up. Oh, no. Okay. Let's try something else. So these last three were keyword research tools, which social is all social platforms are really switching to like SEO rather than like tag searches. So social SEO is really important, and a lot of what people are searching on Google is going to be what people are searching for on social as well. So I think these platforms are going to grow to be more important for social as well. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Well, what would happen when this would work is that you'll just see all of these different questions. They separate them by like who, what, where, when, how, which is pretty cool. And then I think it shows you the search volume as well. It's usually not this complicated to use, but Answer the Public is another good resource. The next one is Facebook groups. So if you're not a Facebook group person, I highly recommend. There's a group for literally everything. I think I'm in a group called Punk Rock Bird Watching. So there's literally something for everybody. No matter what industry you're in or what target audience you're reaching, there's a group for that. What I like to do is just go to group search on Facebook, and like for me, for example, I would be searching up like entrepreneurs, small business owners, and finding groups with people who own businesses. An immigration law firm. Oh, that would be interesting what you would search for that. Maybe like city groups. I would have to think more about that. Social, paid social. So depending on who your audience is, you could just look for small business groups as well. But in these groups, people are asking tons of questions. So you can either answer the questions in the group, which is a great way to get traffic back to your website if you have like a blog or something that links to it. But also just make note of all the questions that people are asking, and you'll find tons of content in there. I could spend like all day in Facebook groups. Same thing with networking groups, if you're in like LinkedIn groups, or if you're just doing in-person or Zoom events. Making note, like it kind of again going back to conversations that you're having. A lot of people will ask you like how will I know that people are looking for your service? And so just kind of going back to that basic level question, and kind of asking or talking about like just really basic entry level questions about your business. That's always a good place. And then lastly is to just repurpose your content. Nobody's gonna know if you repost the same thing over and over again, especially with a good time in between. Like you'll never recognize somebody else's content. I don't recommend like exactly copy and pasting, but just go back to posts that you really liked or posts that have done really well and reformat them and repost them with different copy, or maybe you posted a graphic and you want to turn it into a reel or vice versa. But repurpose your content, reuse it over and over, and again, nobody will know. And that's really useful too. Okay, I think that's all my tips on finding content. This will I mean, there's endless content there, so that's plenty. Okay, now we want to schedule content so we don't need to manually post it all the time. There are two platforms that I really like. The first one's Later. Later is So both platforms will manually post your reels and your graphics. Later will recommend or will notify you to post your stories. I actually don't know how Metricool does it, but probably the same. They just notify you, and then it sends you your graphic and the copy that you had scheduled, so you can quickly post things to your story. Both have really great analytics. Both offer a link in bio, which is useful. And they both also offer community management, so you can answer all of your comments and your messages, which is great, especially if you are working with somebody. You can just have them go through all of your comments and messages there. The differences are Metricool is slightly cheaper and it has quite a few more platforms to post on. So you can do like YouTube, you can integrate your ads in your website. Metricool also has Google My Business, which is useful if you're using that. The one thing I don't like, or the one thing that I like about Later that they just introduced right after I switched to Metricool, which was unfortunate because I would probably have stayed for this, is that in their link in bio on Later, you can now collect email addresses, which is really useful. If you have MailChimp, it'll just drop your emails directly into your account. So that's a really nice new feature. Later also has more customization for like your branding and your link in bio. You can customize the colors and the font. So if staying on brand is really important, that's helpful. Metricool's link in bio is pretty ugly. There's not anything that you can do about it besides like change the colors. But other than that, Metricool is slightly cheaper. You have more platforms and the analytics are a little more in depth. So I decided to switch to that platform just a couple months ago. But that is it. That is how I create my content calendars, the template that I use, how I find all of my content ideas, and how I schedule posts. All of this will hopefully create a better system for you, keep you from not feeling burnt out. I know social is really overwhelming and draining. Yeah, if you have any questions about this or anything else, let me know. We have a few more minutes. We can fill that time in with questions. Okay, Rachel says, how often do you typically post, and do you post different things on different platforms or the same thing? Okay, that's a good question. And I think I want to do my next workshop on like social strategy to really dive into that. But how often do you typically post? So one, that's like such a broad, I don't know. There's no definitive answer for that. So how often I post is really like, I mean, on my channel is almost never. I'm really bad about it. But like for client accounts, there's just a lot of testing involved. You want to keep your audience engaged. But what I've noticed, like on TikTok, which is really interesting, if I post 2 or 3 times a week, I'll get really good views. If I post multiple times a week, like, or multiple times a day, or over like 5 times a week, I don't get a lot of views. So I've just been like testing that. And so I've been posting less, which is obviously great. But yeah, it's really just comes down to testing how the platform reacts, how your audience reacts, and also what works best for you. So if it's really hard for you to post a lot and to keep like a really intense social schedule, then don't do that because you want to really focus on the long run instead of burning yourself out. And so posting different things on different platforms, that's kind of the same. So I start there with like burnout, right? Like, do I have the capability to post different content on different channels? When it comes to that kind of can go into your whole social strategy too. So some people use like TikTok as a brand awareness platform. So they're only posting like trends or just really like surface level content to get people onto their Instagram. So they use the platforms as different like social pillars. And so, yeah, that would be like different content. And maybe your Instagram, you're diving more into like nurturing and conversion content. But if you don't want to create a whole system like that, or it's not working out for you or your audience, You can post the same things on the same platforms. I usually tweak like my captions, my keywords when I post content on both channels though. What's your rule of thumb for number of platforms to post on per client? So if they are a client of mine, obviously we have the capabilities to post on more platforms than just one. If somebody's managing, if you're doing your own social, again, I kind of just recommend like not hitting your burnout levels. So just work really hard on one platform, work on connecting with your audience there and getting a really good like flow of getting your funnel working really well on one platform before you kind of expand into others and because it's super time consuming. All of this is really time consuming. So it's really like up to what you can personally handle. But if I'm running accounts for a client and I have the abilities to post on more channels, I like to reach out to wherever I can. But again, it kind of goes back to what your social strategy is and where your target audience is. So if your target audience really isn't on TikTok, then don't waste your time if your target audience isn't on Instagram or Twitter or whatever it is. Don't waste your time like posting on those. Thank you, Matt. All right. Hi, Brittany. We are just wrapping up, but if you have any questions, feel free to let me know or we can call it a day. I'll wait a couple more minutes. The recording will be posted to YouTube. If you I'll have it posted probably by the end of the day. So if you want to check out our YouTube channel tomorrow, it'll be there. If you signed up through my website, I'm going to be sending out an email with the recording to everybody through that. But it will be on YouTube tomorrow. I will drop my YouTube link into the chat for you. Maybe. Internet is so slow today. It's also ready for it to be the weekend. It's just calling it a day, which is fine with me. This should go to my channel, but it's a weird link. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you around online. Have a good week. Bye, everybody.